All right. Well, hey, Coaches Out for Change. It's Dee Korchan coming to you on May 16th, and it's our weekly team time. So we are glad. I see a lot of us coming on. We've got a great topic tonight. You know, the one thing about Optavia is all the training we have available to us. And I really try to use this format. A lot of times we'll do specific training and what we think we need to hone in on, but there already is a lot available. And right now I'm hoping that you are focusing on and participating in the sponsoring workshops that are taking place on Saturdays. That really is such a growth opportunity. If you are looking to grow your business, participating in that is really the way to be spending your time. In this environment, you know, one, we have such an inclusive environment, but the real important thing to me is that I want you to realize that we really are all the same. We all ordered that $199 health coach kit. And we're all growing at different paces, at different levels, but we're all doing the same thing. So tonight we're going to, after we go through a few inspirational stories, we're going to be going through a panel of some of the top leaders talking about failure and disappointment. And really it's part of the process. And I know it can be so easy to look at somebody else and think, well, of course that happened for them because they blah, 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 right? We've got our story, why it works for them and not for us. But I think you are going to find we are more alike than different. But we've had so many leadership rank ups. What we're doing on these calls is we're recognizing executive directors, and then of course, anybody who hits like integrated national, global, presidential. But I don't want to miss, because two of the people who we're going to recognize tonight, their coaches were ranked up to regional director. But over the next 2 weeks, we have 4 people to recognize, and we're going to recognize Debra Graleski tonight. Debra is a client of Debbie Pasco. So congrats to Debbie, who ranked up to regional director as a result of Debra's growth. But executive director is a first leadership rank. It is something that many of us on this call are striving for. So I think it's important for us to hear your story. So Debra, you want to take it away?
Oh, you got me going first. Hi, everybody. Dee, thank you for having the confidence in me to speak when you know that I'm an introvert. Like most of us, I've been on a yo-yo diet most of my life until I found Optavia. My journey began January 2021. I lost 75 pounds by the end of June 2021 and been optimizing ever since. The funny thing is, I didn't want to coach. I told Debbie for 7 months I did not want to coach. What changed is people kept asking me to coach, you know, what I was doing. And I thought, well, might as well give it a try. So I started coaching a few friends. And I'm so glad that I did it. The joy that I have from coaching people is incredible. And watching their health journey, it just warms your heart. I've been senior coach for a few months and then went to manager for a few months. But at the beginning of April, I told Debbie that I wanted to be ED by convention. So I set the goal. Setting goal helped, but what helped me the most was getting out of my own head and telling myself that there were people out there that really needed this. And I heard that many times on here. This is when I really started asking clients for referrals. And I got 6 new clients from that. Then I asked them to post their progress. And then I got 2 new clients from that. And I thought, wow, doing all this is just like the workshops I've been watching, you know, and they actually really, really work. So I also joined a networking group and I received 4 from them. But the hardest thing, the 12 new clients that I was now coaching became a daunting task. And I had trouble trying to keep up with everything. So I reached out to Debbie and Dee, and they gave me tips on how to manage my new clients. So I'm so thankful for all the mentoring that we get. It's priceless. It really is priceless. So my best tips are to set a goal. Remember, people need the program you offer, and your mentoring team is always there to help you.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Debra. It has been so fun to watch you grow, to go from that no multiple times on coaching to what you've created. And Dan Bell always says, when we set the goal for executive director, it usually happens in 30 to 60 days if we go to work. And you just did the simple things and really ask people to share for you and be your marketing department. And look at that. It works.
Yeah. 3 weeks.
Congratulations. Yeah, 3 weeks. Look at that. Yeah. So good. And you'll get to go to Awaken our Awaken conference as well. So congrats.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to move on. So next we're going to congratulate Sandra Darling for reaching executive director, and very similar to Debbie's situation, her awesome coach, Sarah Bond, reached regional director. So shout out to Sarah. But Sandra, I just watched you in the back office. I kept seeing your name pop up there as rank ups, and I'm excited to hear your story.
All right. Well, my story began in April of 2021, and I have always struggled with weight loss or weight pretty much my whole life. I kid everyone and say, as a small baby, I was probably one of the biggest babies. So, I mean, that's just been a kind of a joke of mine. But in all seriousness, I have, always struggled with my weight. And so Sarah, I kept watching her story on Facebook. We're both from the same hometown. And I kept saying, I really need to figure out what's going on. I had tried everything I knew to do, and was having some medical issues, and they had, changed up some of the things I was doing. So I reached out to Sarah, and, we laugh about it now, but I knew I was going to sign up regardless of the cost or anything like that, because I was ready for a change. And so I told Sarah, I said, you have 30 days, Sarah. And in that 30 days, if I don't see a change, then it's okay. And she said, give me 30 days, work the plan, you'll see a change. And so I'm so thankful for that, her believing in me and me really following the plan. And so up to date, I've lost 60 pounds. In May was probably when I realized the change of my overall appearance, and I had put a side-by-side picture up. I'd been on vacation, and it was unbelievable of the response that, people were responding and all the encouraging words. And so Sarah reached out to me and she said, are you sure you don't want to coach? And that was like May, and her and Jordan both. Are you sure you don't want to coach? Are you sure you don't want to coach? And I'm like, it just wasn't the right timing. And so September of 21, I decided, all right, everybody's loving my journey. They're, really giving encouraging words. Sarah had faith in me. Jordan had faith in me. I thought, I'm going to just take the step and see what happens. And so thankful I did. So I moved into coaching in September, basically because I just love helping people. I love helping people that especially struggle with weight loss. I can relate to that. And I'm a single mom. And so I knew that the financial gain that would happen with that was huge for my family. And to be just held accountable, just when I'm coaching other people, then, I'm being held accountable and I'm preaching kind of the same message. And so kind of my mindset changed a little bit, knowing that the possible of the financial gain that would have on my family and what it would mean, and to, mainly focus on helping people. I started out with just a few people, and, the blessing and the stories that I heard from them were just overwhelming for me. And so the best tip I can give is keep an open heart and an open mind. Really rely on your coaches. Everyone from, all the way up has been so inspiring to me, telling me that I could do it. And I was on I guess a pilot project with Jordan, and I never really thought that I would ever hit executive director. And so, just the tips that we had on that call and over the couple weeks that we had. And always remember, just set your goal and reach for it. And, we're all going to have stumbles and, issues to get there, but just never give up on yourself. And then just realizing that every one person that you impact is huge. So, just keep the course and hold accountable for yourself and help others. And so that's my story.
Man, that's a great story, Sandra, a great story. From coming in thinking I'll try it for 30 days to an incredible physical transformation to now the healthy mind, healthy finances for your family. I mean, you truly are the Optavia story, and it is a reminder to all of us, right? And you heard them say, her coach, are you sure you don't want to coach? Are you sure you don't want to coach? So aren't you glad they didn't give up the first time you said no? So congrats. As we move on, I just want to one announcement that the Summer Slim Down Challenge is off the chains, guys. We have, and thank you to Meg, who was working so closely and gathering all this data, but we have 578 people. 578 people in this challenge. Okay. In 1 week alone, 113 pounds were lost. We are giving out weekly prizes for people that are submitting their weekly results. So we're working to keep the energy up. But also just a reminder, it's a team effort, and want to give a special shout out today to Shauna Davis and to Debbie Johnson, because they were in there actively commenting on our clients' comments. Okay. So this really is a team effort, you guys, to keep the energy, but I don't want you guys to miss the opportunity of what's happening right now. We have an absolute incredible opportunity. The $90 off was not about just signing people up to be on this program, right? Signing them up and put them in the challenge. Like, now the work begins. Now the fun begins, because we get to awaken people like Debra and Sandra to what is possible. So we want to be in there actively seeing what they're doing. Just so you know, today I did a Facebook Live in the group about asking, are you dieting? Are you doing this in the dark? And it's about public accountability. And so that's something you can hang on to at any time to share, also about coaching. And there also is a benefits of coaching webinar this Wednesday night at 9. So this is a perfect opportunity to start just exposing people to what is possible, keeping the conversations going. Now, I'm going to ask you over the next rest of this call, one, if we go a little bit over, if you would be willing to stay on, because I know Frank has prepared a great amount of, great selection of questions for our global directors and above. If you have to hop off, we understand, but I just have looking at the clock, we might run over. And I also just want to share and thank our leaders for coming out and being willing, including myself, to be vulnerable. Because we're going to share some personal things and some things that aren't so easy, but we know that it's through this vulnerability and through connection that this is how, future leaders are born. This is how you see it bigger. It's how I saw it bigger, when somebody was willing to share with me. So if they say something that resonates, give them shout outs in the comments. Let's really rally around each other. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Frank.
Okay, thank you, Dee, and congratulations to the people that ranked up last month. Before I even get started, I got to make a disclosure. Okay, I'm not as polished as some of these people you see speaking week in and week out. In fact, I'm a little rough around the edges. And I don't see Lori Cole, but she would tell you that, Frank's coming on, be careful, you might want to go, Okay, she's probably on my other screen. I don't see her on this screen. But all that being said, I'm going to try my best to kind of lead a panel discussion here. All righty, so I've prepared some questions, but first of all, I want you to know that I'm going to be asking the top leaders, like Dee said, some very honest and raw questions. And if you're not ready for that, now's the time to go, because they're going to be honest, they're going to be real, and it may scare some of you, okay? Now, I know some of you may be on here, you're kind of treating your Optavia business like a hobby. That's okay. Some of you just want a few clients. That's okay, but some of you want a big business. So the big business leaders are globals and above. And I'm going to be talking to Dee, who's the integrated presidential director. I'm going to be talking to Jordan, who's a global director. I'm going to be talking to my wife, who's a global director. She's on the other end of the house. She can't sit side by side with me, because you see what I'm doing with my hands, right? I'm all over the place. So she's at the other end of the house in her office. And I'm going to be talking to Meg, who's a brand new presidential director. There's one more global director who's not here tonight. She's in California. That's Lauren. Okay. So before I get started, may I have your permission to be honest and real? And may I have your permission to allow the panel speakers to be honest and real, because they're going to be honest and real. So the first question I have is, looking back over your Optavia business, did you say yes right away? And if not, how many times did you turn down your coach? The first person is Dee. Dee?
I said maybe the first time. I was approached for the business. It was a friend of mine through church. So he called me and he said, I have something I would like to share with you. And he actually came to my house and he brought the Habits of Health book, way back, the original version of it. And he told me about the program, told me about coaching. And he left me with the Habits of Health book and Susan Palace's phone number. And so I was like, I was intrigued because I was kind of looking for something. So I did make a phone call to Susan Palace, and I did talk to her about it as well. And then I read the Habits of Health book pretty much cover to cover. So that took me a month. So I was a month from being asked to saying yes, but I will tell you, he never called me back or followed up. I called him and said I was going to do it. And honestly, he sounded surprised. So that was something I learned, was the importance of follow-up when you know, not letting much time go by when you ask somebody.
Awesome. Okay, same question is going to be going out to Jordan. When you were asked about coaching, did you say yes right away? And if not, how many times did you turn down your coach? Come off mute, Jordan.
Hey, so I don't really have a typical answer. I was not asked about coaching initially because my mom was my coach and she's no longer coaching. And at 10 days on program, I was down 10 pounds, results not typical. And I was so excited about it. I walked into the kitchen and my husband was like, okay, that's great, but we can't keep doing this every month. So we're gonna have to see what we're gonna do. And I was like terrified that I was gonna gain that weight right back. And so I said, no, I'm gonna coach. I'm gonna help people and I'll pay for my food. And so I bought my coaching kit that day with money we didn't have. And then I started getting phone calls from like Dee and Larry and like, hey, saw you became a coach. So.
All right, so good. All right, the same question's going out to my wife, Shauna. Did you step into coaching right away when asked? If not, how many times did you turn down your coach?
Oh my goodness, I turned down my dearest friend who I trusted with my life for 4 months. And she can tell you I was a little snarky when she would tell me about her clients. And I was like, why can't they eat the cookie, Lori? Why can't we eat what we want? And saw a friend of mine losing weight, called her thinking she had a magic pill because she lost a lot of weight. And I was going to jump on that, and it was Optavia. So I called Lori back and I said, okay, tell me one more time about this amazing program. And I jumped in, but I said, I'll give you 30, much like Sarah, I'll give you 30 days to prove to me it works. And please don't ask me to coach because I am not going to coach this program. And 2 weeks later, 12 pounds down, not typical, I was a coach. So.
Awesome. And of course, I was her first client and I was a rock star client, very compliant, no problems. Okay. So same question to Meg. Meg, did you say yes right away? And if not, how many times did you turn down your coach?
Sorry, Dee. So Dee was my coach and I said no approximately 17 or 18 different times. And I think part of it was I thought she wanted me to coach for her. I thought she was trying to get me to do something that it would benefit her. And lo and behold, I see this is for me. I'm the one that has greatly benefited by my decision to coach. And so I share that with people that ever ask, like, hey, what's in it for you? I always share, hey, that's what I thought, but it is what's in it for you. And I think part of it was fear. I was afraid of what coaching would take. I was afraid that I didn't have the skills. I wouldn't be able to do it. But there was a part of me that every time Dee asked and every time I said no, I felt honored that she thought enough of me that I could do it. Like it was never annoying. It was always like, oh, okay. Okay. So it was always an honor.
Awesome. All right, one of the things you notice about these people, do you hear the confidence in their voice? Every one of them. They probably didn't start out that way, right? But they're all global directors and above. Global directors, if you're brand new, it means you have at least 5 different executive director legs, and there's some volume that goes in there. You meet some other parameters. Typically, Dee, can I quote this? Typically, a global director is making 6 figures above a year. Results not typical. Look at your whatever that's called, compensation plan. Up, look at that. I wish I had it in front of me. Go look at that. But typically, they're making them a minimum of 6 figures a year. Okay. And you may be thinking, just like I used to think, they're different. They're special. Their friends are different. Their friends don't turn them down. Their friends have lots of money. Their friends have lots of time. They have lots of time. They don't work 28 hours a day. They don't have kids. They don't have all these activities. No, we have the same struggles and the same challenges and the same time. And Shauna just had major surgery. We have life going on. Okay. We're nothing special. And I want you to hear this in the next few answers. Question number 2. Looking back over your Optavia career, did you ever feel like you wanted to quit? Did you ever want to quit? And if so, when was the last time? Same order. Dee, you're going to go first.
Now you're going to see me getting blotchy. So the answer is yes. And I'll tell you, I tend to lean towards all or nothing thinking. So they call that systemic thinking. So it's not unusual for me, like in a frustrating moment, to think like, I'm out of here, like, right, like I can do that, but I'm not serious about it, right? That's the way I'm venting. But there have really been 2 times that I would say I was serious about it, because we all go through hard times. The first time was really the stretch between where I got stuck between integrated, national, and global. During that period of time, I had all the voices. Nothing was going on my time. I had all the voices in my head that you start to say, maybe I'm not made for this. Maybe I don't have what it takes. This is too hard. Like Frank said, my people are different. I had every story. And it was hard. But I worked through it, and I ended up realizing, like, and as with any delay in my business, that it was me. The growth had to happen within me. So I got some personal development and some coaching. And what I realized was it was my perfectionism. It was my fear of failure. It was my fear of what people would think of me. It was my fear of not connecting with people that was holding me back. And that was the block. It wasn't anybody else. It was the way I was approaching the business. So when that shifted, things got better, right? And then things were rocking and rolling again. I'm going to say probably the surprising thing, and maybe it is or isn't, I would say my most recent time of wanting to quit was within the past year. And it's because I've been going through a lot personally. And when you go, your emotions are strong. And when you go through emotional things, it ripples into every part of your life. And you guys have all been through it because I coach many of you. And a natural reaction when life is rough is we start to look at what we can take off our plate. And things felt hard. And I went through a real lull of not attracting clients, not attracting coaches. My couple new coaches I signed on face planted. They weren't doing well, and it's hard. It's hard when you want things and it's not happening. And I lost track of my vision. And I lost track of my focus. And I was thinking, like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And it was really coming back to what is this all about and getting back to the roots of it. And I had to get back to what do I love? And I love connecting with people and helping people and getting back to the roots. And when I got back to that, then the joy started coming back.
All right, so good. I hope you guys got some Kleenex nearby because, that just brings tears to my eyes. Hope it does to you as well. Jordan, how many times have you wanted to quit, and when was the last time?
If I'm being really honest, I've never thought about actually quitting coaching. I believe in this that much, and I saw it really early on that this could be a really great thing for my family. We were paycheck to paycheck, like paying stuff late. Do we buy diapers? Do we get all our groceries? And so for me, it started with being able to pay for the food. But then it was like, oh my gosh, if I could make $1,000 extra a month, that would be life-changing for our family. And I think it's Carol Quintero. This quote has been kind of floating around for a couple of weeks now, like you go as far as you can see, and then you go a little bit further. That was definitely my journey from the beginning. And I'm so thankful that Dee also kind of whispered in my ear early on, like, hey, if you see this big, like, it's big. And so I'm just so thankful, for the mentorship model that we have. And yeah, I just saw it big really fast. And I've had hard seasons, and I tend to kind of look at it as, where do I need to grow? And again, I credit that to mentorship coming in and saying, hey, this is, when you're at a sticking point, this is usually the cause. So thank you.
So we know this business is more than finances. We know it's more than making money, right? But Jordan just wanted to make $1,000 a month. And as a global director, the minimum, a baby global director is probably making 6 figures a year. You think she's making more than $1,000 a month? Yeah, probably. Okay, Shauna, next question. Have you ever wanted to quit? And when was the last time?
Wow, I hope I can get through this one. I'm the queen of systemic thinking. So many, many times I've wanted to quit when it got hard. A couple of really big seasons that were really hard. The first one, Lori talked me through, and I was just ready to walk out the door. And it was because of things in our personal life. Let it get to me, let it pull me down. I think I wasn't good enough to do this anymore. And how could I possibly lead a team of people if I had enough crap in my own life, right? And the second time was this past year. And, honestly, without Dee and Lori, I might have walked. So I'm so thankful for our mentorship. I want every one of you to know you're going to have hard seasons. It's going to be either in your personal life, in your business life, or family, or whatever. But don't let it translate into what kind of coach you are, because you're here. You've got drive, you've got the will and the desire to do this and help people. And your story, whether it's hard, whether it's easy, whether you want to quit, whether you don't want to quit, whether every single day you want to quit, you're going to touch somebody's life someday in a huge way. So just hang in there.
Obviously, as her husband and her client and her co-coach, this is tough for me to ask questions and to hear these answers. But Meg, you're next. How many times have you wanted to quit, and when's the last time?
I think I got scared early on. For sure. I had fear right after I became a coach, but I think the most recent time, and I don't know that I necessarily wanted to quit, but come November or December of last year, I wanted to shrink inward. I wanted to hide. My world was really, really hard, and I was gaining weight, and it was really hard to show up and to lead, and to lead with authenticity and integrity when I knew I was struggling. And I am so grateful that when things got hard, I didn't hide. I showed up anyways. And it was that showing up anyways, that grit, I think that really allowed me to have a breakthrough. And there was a time, I guess it was November, December, it felt so hard. And I told Dee, it feels so hard. Just want to shrink back. But now at Presidential, my business has doubled since November, December, basically. It's easier, and it's a heck of a whole lot more fun. So it just shows you, it just is a snippet of something that can happen, and then you have a breakthrough. So just hang in there long enough.
Yeah. And I think I heard recently, Meg, you were back on program and you'd lost some weight, and I don't remember the number, 26 pounds, 19 pounds. I don't remember what it was now. But during that time, you got back on program. That's when you had the breakthrough. That's when you saw the explosion. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, awesome. And we've all heard we all heard the saying. And I'm guilty too. I've put on a few pounds, and when I put on a few pounds, I don't feel like a coach. I feel like a fraud, kind of a fake a little bit, right? But when I'm back on program and I'm in fat burn, wow, things suddenly take off. I feel real again. I feel like a coach. we've all heard the saying, when your waistline is shrinking, your business is growing. If your waistline is growing, your business might be shrinking. I'm going to skip question number 3 in the interest of time, because I don't want to keep you guys so long, but we're going to go to question number 4. We all know that comparison is the thief of joy. So what do you do to avoid comparing yourself to somebody else? Dee, you're off.
I think that's one of the biggest growth opportunities, and where we can really trip ourselves up is in the comparison game. And I have definitely shared before that I really thought to reach top leadership, I thought I had to look a certain way and act a certain way and be a certain way. And that wasn't the case, right? Chris, maybe we can stay after. We'll have an after meeting session if you want to hear question 3. But you know, that was really, really holding me back. And what I learned was that we all have this same gift. We've all got the same vehicle. We lean it up against the wall of Optavia, but we're individuals that get to the top. So I realized when I started opening up and being myself is when I started attracting. So that is the big thing that I think is to try to stay away from. And I just have to remind myself of that and always get back to what are we really doing? It's not what Susie Q is doing to the left of me or to the right, because as soon as I look left or right, I lose focus of where I'm going. So I've got to stay looking forward.
Yeah, making your journey your own. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, same question to you, Jordan. What do you do to avoid falling into the comparison trap?
I would say probably the biggest thing for me is gratitude and being grateful for where I am and for what I have in the business. If you've heard me speak at all, you know that my faith is central to everything that I do. And so I really make a point to surrender my business to God on a regular basis. And I really feel like that is what keeps me grounded and centered and not looking to the right and the left, like Dee just shared, and owning my own voice. And I thought I was owning my own voice for a little while. And then I learned that there's more of my own self to share with the world. So that helps a lot too.
All right, very good. So we're right at 8 o'clock. I'm going to finish asking this question and then I'll find out what we're going to do from here. So Shauna, same thing for you. What do you do to avoid the comparison trap?
I think after years of working on self-development and the last year or so of some counseling, I've realized we all are on a journey, and your struggle may be so much more than mine. And just keeping that in mind helps me not to compare. Because I either read something or heard something. If I want to be like Meg, I've got to take all of Meg's issues too. So whatever she has that she's struggling with, I'm going to want to take that on. Or if I, want to be like Dee, I've got to take Dee's issues, or Lori or Kim or any of you. And I know y'all all have stuff. It's different. So that really was a wake-up call for me, not to try to compare myself to anybody else. And that's really been the biggest wake up for me is realizing that we all have something. And do I want your something, or do I just want to work through my something?
Yeah. We're all unique, but we're all the same too, right? It's amazing when you get to certain levels, like, oh, you have that problem, I have that problem, we all have that problem. And then Meg, you're next. What do you do to avoid the comparison trap?
I'll echo what Jordan said, and I try to always shift to gratitude, and I try to remind myself that it is normal to compare. And I would love to tell you every time I compare, I just shift to gratitude and remind myself it's normal, but I don't. It drives me crazy. So I still struggle. Today, I struggled. I was on camera for the company and I was comparing myself. I'm like, stop it. So I just want you to know, if you're in that comparison trap, it will likely happen no matter your rank, no matter how old you are, no matter of all the good things that are going on. It's just going to be there. So don't think you're crazy, just work through it and find what's going to work for you. And for me, that's perspective and gratitude.
Awesome. Okay, we're at 8 o'clock. Certainly, I want to be respectful of everybody's time, everybody's schedule. Some of you may have calls, you got, babysitting, you got whatever. but I had a number of questions. I'm not going to get to all of them. Chris, I had to skip number 3, and I'm going to skip a couple here, but I'm going to go to one last question. So I'm skipping like 3 questions. I'm even skipping my bonus question, it was a rock star bonus question. None of the globals even knew what the question was because I wanted to surprise them with my bonus question, but we'll get that to another time. Maybe that'll be some incentive to get you guys to come back. Okay, so the last question is, knowing that many disappointments and failures are part of a big business, what would you say to a coach that is fearful of these? Why is this program worth it? Why is it worth it to get to global? Why is it worth it to get to presidential like Meg has done? Why is it worth to get to the very, very top IPD like Dee's done? Why is it worth it? Dee, you're first.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to combine and answer that. I think you asked me, one of the other questions was, how do you prepare a coach that there will be failures and disappointments? And I just say, allow yourself to be a beginner. And I say that to you, everybody at every stage of the game, just allow yourself to be a beginner and realize that failure is part of the process. If you think about anything worthwhile in your life, right? So, graduating from high school, graduating from college, your first job, parenting, marriage, these things are hard and they do not come without struggle. Anything worthwhile has struggle. And I think in this business, especially, we step into it, it's harder than we think it's going to be. Entrepreneur is, the world is not for the faint of heart. It'll expose every unhealthy thought you've ever had in your life about yourself. But we step into it and we go to this place of, well, I guess I'm not cut out for it. I guess I can't do this. And the reality is you're growing into it. Why it's worth it? It's because you're worth it. Your dreams are worth it, whatever those are, right? Like Frank said, we all come to this for different reasons, but I encourage you and I want to give you permission to let yourself dream and to let yourself dream bigger. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would be in this place of where I am now. And I know when you talk about comparison, I mean, I am like the pinky finger of what a typical, what other IPD businesses are. So I still know there's tons possible. But not only has this radically transformed my own life, mentally, physically, and financially, I just wanted you to know the statistics of what happens when you stay with something. Today, Vicki Feldman, one of my OG EDs, she shared with me, and I'm going to thank Julie Apple, who pushed me because I had fears. She said, let's start our own group. Let's start our own Eat, Live, and Be Healthy group. Let's do it the way we want to do it, build the culture that we want. And honest to God, I thought, we're going to do this and nobody's going to come, right? Like we won't have anybody. So we started that in April 2016. Somebody shared the memory with it of a post I had done about it. And right now, you guys, we have 11,000 people in that group. 11,000. That is the ripple effect when you stay with something despite get over yourself, right? We have over 600 coaches in this organization right now who have active coach agreements. Just our little organization, 600. And together we have impacted 18,500 lives. That's why we stay with it.
Awesome. That is awesome. 11,000 people. Whew. Okay, Jordan, you're next. What would you say to a coach that is really scared of what they hear here? They don't want these disappointments and failures. Why is it worth it?
So I'm going to share one of my favorite quotes of all time. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And I was told as a child that's from John Wooden. It was at basketball camp. So that was good enough. I don't know if it was him or Winston Churchill. You can Google it, but expectations, and well, I don't want to say expectations because that can be also not a great word. Mindset is everything when it comes to this business. The lens that you look at everything with shapes your experience, from what I have found. And when you look at every situation through the eyes of love, it changes you. It changes your interactions with the people around you, right? I know a lot of us have done Habit Finder, right? I will greet this day with love in my heart. That's scroll 2, and he talks about, the things that are hard, the obstacles, the things that come with us, they fall like a gentle rain, and love is your shield. And so I think if you can embody that and let it become how you process everything, it's worth it. Because at the end of the day, you get to meet somebody where they're at and love on them and connect with them and help them see, I see what is important to you. I would love to help you with what's important to you. And they're going to feel that, right? And then the only other thing I'll say as far as failure, fail stands for first attempt in learning. And we have all had many opportunities to learn along the way, but it's how you look at it and the eyes that you look at it with.
Awesome. And the scroll that she was referring to is by Og Mandino, greatest salesman in the world. If you haven't read that book, I would encourage you to do so. Okay, Shauna, what do you say to a coach that's really scared? They hear these, oh my gosh, these horror stories. And why is it worth it?
Well, it's so hard to follow you, Jordan. That was beautiful. Is it worth it? It's going to be worth it. And every time I thought about quitting, the flip side of that thought was, if I quit, what am I going to miss? If I quit, whose lives am I not going to impact? If I quit, I'm going to lose this community. This is so important to me, this community. Almost more important to me than a rank or, and not that I wouldn't do this for free, but this community is so incredibly important. So when you feel like quitting and you wonder, is this really worth it? Think of what you would do if you weren't doing this. I mean, what can you do that's this amazing where you can touch this many lives? And if you only touched 5 lives and you only coached 5 people, but they grew, do you realize that hundreds and hundreds of people's lives were impacted because you stayed and you said yes? So that's my biggest deal. If I quit, I know I'm going to regret it. So for me, anything I go through is worth it, because the flip side of fear is always something amazing. You always learn a lesson. You always find something beautiful over there.
I'm going to write that one down. The flip side of fear is amazing. All right, Meg, what would you tell a coach that is kind of now a little fearful of all these disappointments and failures, and why is this program worth it?
I would say it is okay to have fear. Fear happens, right? We all have fears, but we push through them. We show up anyways, right? And breakthrough happens on the other side of fear. And I think about my years in coaching. I've been laughed at. I've been misunderstood. I've been called some names. I've lost EDs. I've all kinds of things. I could tell you all kinds of stories, right? But I could also tell you so many stories of victories, of ways that I have pushed through the hard, where I have fought back, where I've contended when I didn't necessarily want to. And the thing that has done for me to really heal my self-esteem, I've struggled with my self-esteem since the 3rd grade, has been extraordinary. And it is so worth it. And I sit back and think back at this life. I've been doing so much reflection in the last 48 hours, and this life that I am living and these people that I get to love on. And I am so grateful that Dee didn't give up on me in time 16, and she asked again. And I'm grateful I had the courage to say yes and to keep going. And I hope that all of you do too.
Awesome. So my biggest disappointment is I didn't get to my other 3 questions. No. So I had 3 more questions, but I didn't get to them tonight. But I want you all to know this. We all have failures. We all have disappointments. Don't feel like the Lone Ranger. This past Friday the 13th, I had 2 brand new clients, just got their kit. They tasted a couple bars or something. They called me up or texted me or something, said, I'm returning my kit. 2 in one day. That same day, on Friday the 13th, I got a text message from one of my clients who'd been on program about a month. Frank, you're an amazing coach. I really appreciate everything you've done, but I got a new friend here in my town, and I just found out she's an Optavia coach. I'm going to transfer to her because she's local. That's 3 in one day. Oh my gosh. So we all have them. Okay. Not a big deal. Move on. And I'm going to part with one last statement, and then I'll let you all go. Do you want to know why Dee Korchan is an IPD? Why is she the top leader on this Zoom call? Why is Meg a presidential? Why are we globals, Shauna and I, and Jordan and Lauren. Why? Dee has had more no's than anybody on this call. She's had more disappointments and more failures than anybody on this call. Meg is right behind her. She's had just as many no's, just as many disappointments, just as many failures, just as many people laugh at her, like she said. Jordan and Shauna and I and Lauren, we've had a bunch of them, a whole bunch of no's, a bunch of people quit, clients quit, coaches quit, people that don't show up when they say they're going to show up. We bring on coaches and we think they are the rock star, and then we never see them again. Dee, though, has had the most. So this program takes work, it takes determination and consistency, grit, and never, ever quitting. If you want to get to where Dee's at, go get a bunch of no's. Just get a bunch of failures and you'll get there. Thank you all very much for being here tonight. I wish I could have got to my other questions. Dee, I'm gonna let you wrap it up real quick.
Yeah, I think we've had a full schedule. Thank you guys. I mean, I think 95% of us hung on till this point. Frank, you did an excellent job leading us. Thank you to the vulnerability of our leaders. Thank you and congratulations to those new EDs who shared tonight, Debra and Sandra. And yeah, would you guys like more of this? Maybe we come back another time and do more. We just want you to know that what you're doing is admirable, noble work, right? My Nehemiah verse, I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. And when you're feeling discouraged, whatever, realize it's part of the process. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. It hurts. It hurts when you are in it. But talk to your coach, lean into your support system, and keep your eye on the vision of what you want. So, all right, we love you guys. We'll see you next week, and have a good rest of the night. Bye.